All right, welcome back to the indoor practice facility here. Big week, Florida State. One of Clemson's last big remaining regular season games. Tigers have to go on the road. Tough place to play. Clemson's never won 2 in a row in Tallahassee. Never won 4 in a row. A lot of things on the table this week. Joanne's first prediction. You know, yeah, she's got to be right with this first one, right?
That's a lot of pressure.
No pressure. Joanne, first we're going to talk about our keys to Clemson victory. What's your key to Clemson coming out with a win?
I would have to say Trevor Lawrence's passing game, specifically his deep ball threat. He had an excellent game this past weekend, but he missed a couple of key long throws, and especially with the rushing defense that Florida State has, that will be a big component in this game, being able to be successful with that long ball, not just the short passing game. So. All
right, there you go. Got to throw the ball.
Trevor Lawrence is listening.
Yeah, Trevor, that's for you. We'll make sure we pass that on to him. He doesn't go on social media. All right, Will, what's your key to victory?
I say the key is the intensity in this game. Clemson came out last week with a lot of intensity from the very beginning of the game, right from the opening kickoff, and you just knew after the opening kickoff they were just going to roll, and that it was going to be one of those days where they were going to dominate. I think they got to have that again this week because, as I mentioned earlier this week when talking about this game, you know, Florida State's going to – this is their Super Bowl. And so Florida State's going to come out hard. They're going to play hard. And this is, you know, remember last year in the Valley, they gave Clemson everything they had last year. And that was, again, another Florida State team. People didn't know what to expect. And yet the game was, what, 17-17 or something late in the game? Or Clemson had a slim lead late in the game.
They gave Miami everything they could have.
They did. And so they're going to have to play with the same intensity they had against NC State to match what Florida State's going to play with because Florida State's going to play hard. I think if Clemson does that, then they're going to be okay and win this game, I think, you know, the way they should. But I think it's still going to be a tough four-quarter football game. And this will probably be the most physical game Clemson has probably played today because I think Florida State will try to get after them, at least on the defensive side.
All right, I don't want a four-quarter game. I want to be relaxed going into the second half. My key to the game is going to be to put Francois on his back a lot.
You said it, I did.
Florida State's offensive line has been a problem. I think they're still not quite where they need to be. Coach Taggart came out yesterday and said that, you know, his defensive line is just as good as Clemson's defensive line. So I think the Power Rangers will go in with a little chip on their shoulder. Francois is a tough guy. I mean, he gets beat time after time after time, keeps getting up. So I think Clemson's going to want to keep putting him down, get him up, put him down, get him up. If the defense can play the way they have the last 2 weeks, then Clemson should be able to come out of this with a pretty easy win. But that's my key to the game is the Power Rangers and putting that pressure on Francois. All right, Joanne, your first prediction of the year. What's your score prediction for the game this week?
I'm going to say 31-21. I think it's not going to be such a big difference as people think because I really think this is Florida State's last chance to show people what they've really got.
I'm assuming Clemson 31?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to win, duh.
Duh. All right, Will, what's your prediction?
31 points, by the way, would break the record Florida State has. Well, they're third, I think, in the country of not allowing a team 30 points or more. So they would actually break that. Clemson would be the first team to do that in 12 games against them. So you're saying to do it.
You're the record.
Yeah. Now, Clemson, on the other hand, has done this 12 times. They've not allowed a team to score over 30 points on them, so give the edge to Clemson.
First team to 30 wins?
So obviously the first team to 30 wins, and I think that team will be Clemson. But I think this game is going to be – Robert, I'm sorry, man. This game's going to be a whole lot more tighter than you want it to be. I know
he said that last week.
I know you hate it when that's the case, but I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those nail-biters. They're going to Tallahassee. Clemson traditionally, I know Dabo said this week, oh, I don't have to hear about, but you know what, Dabo, I'm sorry. Clemson does not play well in Tallahassee usually. I mean, they've only won twice there since 1989. I mean, 10 years.
What does that have to do with this year's game?
And that it's hard to play there. And then considering – this is going to be like a Wake Forest kind of game as far as Clemson's going to have to bring their own energy, I think, because I don't think the Florida State fans are going to be there. And so Clemson's got to bring their own energy, and they're playing Florida State, who's going to bring a lot of energy. And I think it's going to be one of those slobber knocker kind of games. I think Clemson's going to have issues running the ball. They're going to have to. Trevor's going to have to throw the ball on the road against Florida State's talented blitzers and stuff they have, the athletes they have on defense. I'm going to go ahead and just say 20-14 Clemson.
20-14.
You think we're only going to score 20?
What?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Last week, I thought we'd win by 32. We won by 34.
Yeah.
So that was that was a nice, enjoyable game.
You're not going to do that this Florida State, though. You're not going to say 30-something points against Florida State, right?
Here we go.
Oh, boy.
I'm definitely going higher than 20. I mean, come on.
Now 6 points.
Trevor Lawrence and those guys are going to spread is 17 this week.
I'm saying 20 to 14.
Okay. He's going way under the spread.
Hey, she went 31-21.
Way under the spread. She's closer to the spread. All right, we got to get reality here.
She gave 21
Clemson
points,
will
though.
score a lot more than 30 points. Florida State will score very few points. Looking for another big victory, another statement game from Clemson. I'm going to say Clemson 45, Florida State 17. That's your prediction. So we'll see next week if Joanne is right with her first prediction, if Will with his nervous prediction is right, or if Clemson comes out with a easy victory.
I just like to make sure the fans are ready like the players are. Don't go in there getting all cocky, thinking you're going to win 45-17, and then, oh my gosh, you're like sweating.
Well,
and then I'm getting these text messages.
we've seen two great games,
from somebody down
two great games in a week, in the last 2 weeks, and I think the Tigers continue to roll. But we'll find out Saturday. We'll be there, live coverage all week long, all weekend long. Hopefully Clemson wraps up the division this weekend. Yes, that is possible. Miami win Friday night over BC. Syracuse win over NC State. Clemson win over Florida State. Tigers win the Atlantic this weekend. Not sure if all that happens, but stay tuned to TCI for the most complete coverage of Clemson football.